what riz means, what yapping means, okay, what sigma means.
What role does articulation play in career?
So I can sit here and speak like Shashi Tharoor in big words. My idea would always fail.
Which word is appropriate in which context?
But if you're someone who wants to grow in your career, then you should have that skill. If we do not have the answer to that question, we are in trouble.
Hey guys, welcome to Better Engineering and Management podcast. Today we have Nisha Shivram joining us to discuss the importance of articulation and its relationship with success, why voicing your opinion is very, very important, and why voicing your thoughts clearly can make a difference. Nisha, popularly known as Speaker in Dhoti, is a World Championship winner for public speaking. She is a public speaking coach and a TEDx speaker. Nisha, please welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and hello everyone. I hope I will be able to articulate my ideas and would be able to interact with you more effectively. So let's see how it goes.
Thank you, Nisha. So, Nisha, the first question that I wanted to ask is, what role does articulation play in career?
See, for that, we have to first understand what it does, what is meant by articulation. So articulation is all about saying things clearly and effectively, putting your ideas across in a manner, in a format where the other person understands you. Okay. They don't have to look into a dictionary to understand what you are saying. They don't have to, keep on asking you, could you please repeat? Could you please repeat? Okay. So when these things are not there, we can say that the person has articulated it well. And how does it help in your career? And it starts from the point where you go for an interview itself. And if you are somebody who cannot express your ideas in proper words with clarity in your voice, you will never get the job, isn't it? Now, let's say that you got the job and you want to progress in your career. So in that way also, if you are somebody who is a workaholic and not bothered about promotion and everything, it's fine. But if you're someone who wants to grow in your career, then you should have that skill to articulate your ideas and your thoughts in a way so that your senior managers or whoever is working with you, they are able to understand what you're saying. And then only it would, help you in career progression. So articulation plays a very important role in your career, in your profession.
That's very interesting. So what I understand is first of all, you had said two things here. One is you should be putting your thoughts in such a way that your managers and everybody with whom you're working can understand it clearly. That plays a major role. But at the same time, articulation doesn't mean people have to go and look everything that you are speaking into a dictionary. So because that is also, can you shed some more light on it? So being good at articulation doesn't mean you have to have a very strong vocabulary. Is that what we are saying here?
Yes. See, vocabulary, it's always good to have the knowledge of big words, complicated words, right? Okay. That shows that you are well read, you're linguistically very, very strong. But how does it help in your career? Unless and until you have somebody who can understand these who is linguistically intelligent, it's fine. But if you have a manager or a boss who has come from a very humble background and whose native language is not English, or the first language is not English, he comes from let's say that a vernacular medium, and if he does not understand those big complicated words, then you fail as a communicator. Okay, so right. Communication is actually a two-way process. If you have ever read it, or you go and purchase any books on communication, they will tell you that it's a two-way process. So what does that mean? I say something to you, you should understand what I'm saying, and there should be a response from your side. So unless and until a response comes from your side, I'm not a great communicator.
Very interesting. So what I understand is both the people have to understand the communication, then only the communication has been established, right? Both
Exactly.
Response has to come, and it is not just about throwing a lot of smart or complicated words. It's about understanding. It's about ensuring that the other person who is listening to you actually understands what you are saying and is able to
Exactly.
respond. Okay, that's very interesting. So, moving on to the next question. In a country like India, where multiple languages are spoken, right? What is the significance of being articulate in specific languages like English?
Okay, see, I actually do not want to get into that because, see, right
Mm,
now we are facing a lot of issues with this language thing in India, especially.
right, right.
I was born in Kerala, but I was
Okay,
brought up in Madhya Pradesh.
okay,
Okay,
very
so
interesting.
my Hindi is far better than many Hindi speaking people. I can speak in Shuddh Hindi. Then I
Okay,
moved on to Maharashtra for my graduation, where I speak Marathi a bit. But then again, we have to make sure whichever language you are corresponding in, whichever language you are communicating in, you may not become an expert in that language in a shorter period of time, but at least make sure that your pronunciations are correct
hmm,
so that people
okay,
understand what exactly are you referring to. Okay, and when the pronunciations are correct, when you are using the words in the right context, then you do not have to worry about communicating effectively, and that is where
okay,
the articulation part also comes into play. So it is part of your pronunciation and using the right word in the right context. So
okay,
all
okay.
these things matter when it comes to different languages, because something that has a different meaning in my language may
Hmm,
sound and mean different in your language, isn't it?
right, sure.
Yeah, so we have to look into everything, the pronunciation and the context in which I'm using it. So,
Okay.
and that is when the articulation will come into play when it comes to, different languages, especially
Hmm.
in a country like India.
Interesting. So, and that's a very good point you made. Basically, what can happen is someone who is not kind of native to a particular language may have learned few words, but he may not be aware like which word is appropriate in which context, and there is a
Correct.
chance that a word may look correct, but because of the context awareness, right, it may be incorrect in that particular scenario. And even if you're not very good at, let's say, complete language, you should learn a little bit so that you can communicate locally also, which is a good thing.
Exactly.
Pronunciation is very important, is what you said, right? Because if you pronounce it wrong, actually you are speaking a different word, not the same word,
Exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
okay. I think the main issues happen with grammar because that is where I think learning a new language becomes a challenge. But the more you observe other people speaking, probably you can pick it up, and slowly you can also become at least good at it, if not great at it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Moving ahead, how can articulation help management and founders put their points and goals across teams?
Okay. Teamwork, and especially in today's world when there
Mm,
is a rising culture of startups, isn't
mhm.
it, that we have so
Right.
many founders, and in every nook and corner we are somebody, every day somebody is coming up with a new idea and with a new startup and all those things. So I also have a startup. I also have a mobile application that helps people improve their communication skills. But
Mm,
the problem here is, unless and until I explain this idea in a simple but in an effective way to my team members, and
mhm,
moving on to the investors and the
mm,
management, my idea would always fail. Okay, so as they
okay.
say that ideas can change your life.
Mhm,
Correct. But only when people can comprehend it in a proper way. If I am not able to put my idea across to my team members, see, I have a vision. Okay.
mhm,
But if I'm not able to explain that vision properly to my team members, whether it is my technical team or my marketing
mhm,
team, they will not
mm,
understand what exactly am I trying to do. Okay. Where is this app going to be in the next 5 years? So if I'm not able to put it in words, again, you
mm.
don't need big technical words to explain that.
Okay, okay,
Okay, you
okay.
need
Sure.
simple things. So when I have to explain this to my team, I would say, see, I'm building an app that will help people communicate better without
Okay,
using filler words, without
mm,
having grammatical errors, okay,
okay,
with
okay, okay.
correct expressions in the voice. So
Right.
I put it in a very simple way to them. They understood what to do.
Okay.
Okay. But if I use lot of, big words and say that, okay, this is what it is all about and all those AI thing and everything, probably they may not understand. Same with the marketing people, same with simple investors who are sitting right in front of me, who just wants to listen that, okay, this app is scalable. And if I put 50 lakhs in this app, I'm going to get this much return in another 4-5 years. That is what they want to know. So they may not be interested in all the technical features and everything. So when I'm putting across ideas to different set of people, I should first understand what are they looking for.
Yeah, as people say, know your audience before kind of
Know your
communicating to them.
audience. Yeah. So
Okay.
I should understand that, okay, I'm talking to this investor. He may not be interested in, the technicalities and all those things. He is only interested in how much return is he going to earn if he puts this
Okay.
much amount. That's it. The marketing people may not be interested in knowing the technicalities of the mobile app or how am I going to create a big change in the world. They just want to understand that how can they put it in the market in a creative way.
Right. Okay.
Right? So I have to understand my audience first and then use words accordingly.
One thing I think I'm gathering again and again is like simplicity is very important in communication. Basically, is what I think you have been also emphasizing, that don't use words which look like jargon to somebody, and you have to, because what is clear to one may be jargon to another, right? So let's say
Definitely.
technological words, maybe they are it's very kind of natural for engineers to hear this jargon. I mean, just words which is not
Yeah.
jargon to them, but for let's say people from sales or marketing, it may sound like jargon. So you have to understand while communicating that okay, this kind of words are appropriate for this audience, and this kind of words are
Correct.
probably appropriate for another audience, and you have to be simple but effective, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. See, I
Okay.
always say, and we have heard this, that communication is the key to success, right? We all
Right.
have heard
Right.
that. But I
Hmm.
always say that it's not communication, it's comprehension. Unless and
Okay.
until the other person understands what I'm saying, I can
Hmm.
never be a great communicator. So I
Okay.
can sit here and speak like
Hmm.
Shashi Tharoor in big words. But what is
Hmm.
the point if the other person is not able to understand what
Right.
exactly does that mean? Right.
Sure.
So I have to first look at the person. So if I'm sitting in front of somebody who has that kind of knowledge, yes, I can use those kind of words. But if I am
Hmm.
sitting in front of a person who has no knowledge about these words, I have to come down to his level to make him understand.
Absolutely. I think it takes us to our first point, that communication has to be established, right? The other person has to understand what you are saying. Then only this
Yeah.
communication is meaningful. Okay, very interesting. And one more question, related question is, oftentimes what happens is, in teams and all, particularly in startups, since we're discussing startups a bit more, management has a certain vision of the product and let's say the way they want company to grow, but they don't communicate or articulate enough actually, in the sense that they somehow assume that team will know automatically and kind of get aligned, and that starts creating issues because team develops its own versions of vision and mission of the company, and how repetitive people should be when they are kind of trying to give some important message to the team or trying to align them, trying to, let's say, encourage them, motivate them. So do you think there is a sense of repetition that is required here, and for being, or once articulated in a very good way, that's good enough?
See, it depends. First of all, when you are working in a team, you will have a set of people with different personalities. Okay.
Right.
Some people would be intelligent enough to just in one sentence, they would understand what the management is trying to say. Some people, they need a lot of time. So somebody has to sit with them and make them understand point by point, because we are dealing with different people with different intelligence level, different coming from different cultural backgrounds. There are a lot of things that
Right.
affects their
Right.
entire
Mhm.
personality. So if I'm somebody, and again, it also depends on how emotionally intelligent you are to tackle that situation. So it is not just
Right.
about articulation only. Your articulation also depends on your emotional intelligence. So
Okay.
if somebody is not able to understand your concept, there are a lot of things that are happening. The way he is
Mhm.
brought up, the kind of mental situation he is in. So you have to
Mhm.
make sure that everybody is mentally and emotionally aligned with you first to
Okay. Okay.
understand your concept.
Okay.
Okay. So when I explain my idea of this app, some people from this part of the world, who are rich enough to go to different universities and study, they would look at me and say, oh, well, we don't need it, because they are coming from that particular background. So in their
Right.
minds, we don't need it. Who will buy this app? Who is your customer? Okay, because I
Right.
don't think there is a need. So now I have to sit with them and tell them that even if you are so well educated and everything, there are certain things that you need to understand in terms of your voice, in terms of your body language. That is also part of
Right.
communication, that you need to improve. You may be good with words,
Okay.
but
Okay.
is your
Interesting.
voice conveying the right message? Is your body conveying the right message? So if I'm sitting right in front of you like this and saying that, I'm very confident. Now you may look at
Okay.
me and you may not feel good because I'm not very approachable here. This kind
Right.
of a body gesture gives an impression that she is not very interested in talking or whatever, she is arrogant. So now these are the things that I have to put them in their mind to make them understand that yes, you are very good with words, but your body language is not aligned with what you're saying. So that is how I have to convince them. So it is not just about articulation. It is all about, the emotional intelligence. You have to put yourself in other people's shoes, okay, and see from where they are coming, what are they thinking, what is their cultural background. And when you understand that, then you can use your words accordingly to to cater to their needs.
Both verbal and non-verbal communication is going on when you're talking to somebody. You also have to understand kind of their background a lot, because their thinking or their opinions and beliefs may be completely different to what you have. And that also may block the communication in a way, unless you
Correct.
kind of take them into confidence and kind of put your opinions. Interesting. The next question is about that only. Can articulation in some way imbibe empathy and care?
Yes, definitely, and it has to be there.
Okay.
See, that is why I brought this point of emotional intelligence, because
Okay.
right now, emotional intelligence is, especially in corporates, people are focusing a lot more on this particular part. And I go around companies to conduct sessions on emotional intelligence, because before, people who were in a certain position, they would just think that, okay, I am the boss, I have to give out this command or order it, and people would do it. But now there is a huge generation gap. Okay, we
Okay.
belong to the millennials. Now we have Gen Z, Gen Alpha coming in. You
Right.
cannot tackle them the way you tackled your employees earlier,
Okay. Okay.
right? So you cannot look at a guy from the Gen Z and say that, hey, come with me and I have to show you something. No, you cannot, right? So now here, that emotional intelligence plays an important role and tells you what kind of words to use, so that this
Okay.
gentleman here who belongs to a different generation will understand you and would follow you. You have to speak their language now.
So you're
Yeah.
saying that, even this concept, the generation gap will also play a role in your communication, because the way you can talk to, let's say, millennial, probably, even if you want to use the same words, the attitude or the way in which you convey to Gen Z might be different, because the kind of life they have seen, the kind of background they have seen, their expectations might be different in the communication. And since you brought it up, sometimes I also feel like we are very much in touch with millennials and all the other people, but Gen Zs we haven't dealt with much,
Yes.
and probably we don't even know or understand their language. Of course, we have our own children, small children. We know what they think, how to talk, but even their behavior we see like is different with friends and different with us oftentimes, and the language they use is also quite different actually. So I am personally also curious to understand, like, how can we get a handle on this? Like, if we want to discuss with Gen Z and all, right? Is there any way we can proceed into
Uh,
that? Where will we get that information?
no, so the thing is, see, what we are actually doing wrong is,
Mm.
we are doing the same thing that our parents used to do with us. Okay. Now, back in
Okay.
those days, we never asked questions. So when our
Mm.
parents said that this is how it is, so we
Mm.
never asked why. That why part
Right.
never came. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when our parents said that, okay, this is how we need to eat with our hands, we never
Mm.
asked why. We just followed.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
today's generation, they
Mm.
have questions. They will
Okay.
immediately they will ask why. Why can't we eat
Mm-hmm.
with our left hand? Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as somebody who is matured enough, we should be able to answer that question. If we do not have the answer to that question, we are in trouble, because these
Okay.
people will not listen to us now.
Right.
Now, the way to tackle them is, like, when it comes to communication and all, what I have observed, that if you speak some of their words, they
Okay.
feel connected with us. Okay, they feel that, oh,
Okay.
there is somebody who is 40, 45 years old but still
Mm.
knows what riz means, what yapping means, okay, what
Okay.
sigma means. So he or she is of our level, and that is where you build connections with them. Okay,
Right.
and
Okay.
once you build connections with them, then it becomes easier to make them understand that yes,
Mm.
the
Okay.
words that you are using, raised, yapping, sigma, it's all good, it's all great. But we can
Mm.
also use certain words that are more formal, that are
Mm.
more, that would sound good. Okay, that would
Mm-hmm.
make you a better communicator. So,
Okay.
first, anywhere, whether you are working in a company or at home or wherever, you have to first build connection with these
Okay. I
people.
think that is
And
secret. Okay.
yes, and this Generation Z, Generation Alpha, they are actually very simple generation.
Okay.
All they want is a simple mobile phone and in their own world, isn't it? They
Right.
are not
Correct.
problematic like us, but they have
Mm.
questions, and they can
Okay.
find answers to those questions on ChatGPT and Google, because life is so simple for them. But the problem
Mm.
here is, are they getting the right answers? Is the question that we should be
Right.
asking. So who can guide
Right.
them? We can guide them. How can we
Mm.
guide them? First, connecting with them. And in order to
Right.
connect with them, we have to find the things that the words that they are using. And you try it with your kids or with anybody. Once you build connections with them, it would become easy for you to guide them and teach them. Otherwise, if you just go on and force them, see, this is not the way to use this word, you have to use this word better, and all those, they will never listen to you. Never.
True. That's absolutely true. Point taken. Okay. I think going forward, the next question that I had is like, what is the secret to be proficient at articulating your thoughts?
There is no secret. It comes with practice and mindfulness. So, when you know that, for example, right now I have two students coming who have just graduated, and they're going for their higher studies. So, they come for to improve their communication skills. Now, these are people who use a lot of filler words and they are not aware of it. Okay. So first thing first is, whenever you are speaking, you should be mindful of what you are saying and how you are saying it. All
You
these
mean,
filler words, yeah, all these, well, you see, all these crutch words, it all happens automatically because we are not aware of what we are saying. It's just coming
mm,
out of our. So the first thing that you need to do to properly articulate your thoughts is to be aware of what you are saying and how you are saying it. That is one technique. And I always tell people to, whenever they have a presentation to do or anything, don't, okay, you can memorize it, but after
mm,
memorizing it, you record your audio and listen to it. So then you will
okay,
understand, okay, am I taking pause fillers here? My
okay,
pitch is, going high, coming down. All these things matter. So listen to your audio first and correct it mindfully. And once
okay,
your audio is okay, once your voice part is okay, then you move on to your body language, record the video and see how you are standing, how you are looking at people, how
okay,
your hands are moving. All these things, you can take care of these things. So the first thing first is to be mindful of what you are saying and how you are saying it, paying
very
attention
interesting.
to each and everything. Yeah.
Paying attention to what, so basically what you're saying is like, if you are talking, what kind of words you're using and what kind of filler words you are using. That is, if thoughts are not coming to your mind, like you may be getting distracted, or if you are anxious about saying something, then now again
Yes.
you might be using some filler words, and it may be happening automatically and regularly, and you still might not be aware about it. In fact, that's a very good point you brought, because even though, when I was sometimes watch my podcast, I realized there are a lot of words which I use very frequently, but I'm not aware about them at all. Okay, they come out during the discussions and they come
Yeah.
out pretty like regularly. So probably, but if I kind of pay attention to it, I know, okay, these are some of the words that I also use a lot and may not be helpful. Okay, so you're saying mindfulness is one and practice is the other thing that you mentioned, I guess, right? Like
Yes.
the more you talk, the more you practice, and the more you observe yourself, you will become aware, and automatically there will be an improvement. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nisha, before we wrap this discussion up, you also mentioned about an app that you're creating, right? Can you let us, our audience, know what exactly is this about?
Okay. So the name of the app is Speechzy.
Okay.
Speechzy, where speaking is made easy. And now it is available on both Play Store and Apple Store. We are just testing it out in the market, so it's free to use. You can download it and you can start using it. So how does this app works? This is basically to improve your communication skills, and it can be used by any individual. So how does this app work? You can go on to the app, register, and you can record an audio and upload it. The app will analyze your audio and give you feedback on your grammatical errors, your pause fillers, and your pronunciations as of now. And we
Okay.
also conduct live classes, and there are some recorded classes on the app that you can go and access. And if you
Sure.
particularly want a quotes
Mhm.
special sessions, you can register for their live classes. So this is what is happening on the app right now. We are testing the
Okay.
market. Hopefully it will pick up. That is what I believe, because communication skill is something that everybody needs to work on. And
Sure.
so this is about my app Speechzy.
So, Nisha, thank you for joining. It was a great session. All the people who are watching it must have learned something from it, like how to be articulate and why, empathy is also important in articulation, why you should not use jargon a lot because, particularly in youngsters, right, there is this tendency to kind of trying to impress with a lot of vocabulary. But what you had to do is you had to use correct vocabulary with correct audience, right? That's one teaching that we have got today. And mindfulness, again, as you mentioned, right? Be mindful of what you are saying and how you are saying. That will automatically help you. Any last words of advice, Nisha, and then we can wrap this up.
The last words of advice, see, as I always say this to my students, that, keep things simple. There is, as they say, there is beauty in simplicity. The
Okay.
more the words that you use, if they are simple, you can, touch people's hearts. You can send your messages across to them, and you can build connections and credibility. People will trust people who are actually simple in their thoughts and in
Okay.
putting it across to the audience. So keep things simple, do not complicate. There is no need to be to use complicated words and language. And especially to, this is my advice to the founders,
Okay.
keep things simple. That's it. That's all your audience, your customers, your users, your investors, they want.
Okay.
That's it.
I think it's a golden piece of advice, if I may say so, because if things are simple, I think people start relating with it automatically. They don't have to kind of work on it, right? They immediately get it, and that is probably the secret sauce of all communication. How easily people understand what you're saying. Nisha, thank you so much. It was a great conversation. At this point, I would also like to ask all the viewers, like, what's their idea of articulation? What are the issues they face, and how they solve it? They can, of course, get in touch with Nisha also. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Do subscribe. And as Nisha said, keep things simple. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed doing it, and hope to get in touch with you again. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Thank you.